A man who built his career by stepping on everyone beneath him. A boss who denied people their dignity, who lied, manipulated, and he owned the town. For years, I worked under his cruelty. But the day finally came when he thought he'd cash out, walk away with thousands he didn't deserve. That day, in front of the very board he had handpicked to protect him, the truth came crashing down. And all it took was one conversation. This is the story of how I destroyed my boss without lifting a finger. If you've ever had a boss who abused their power, who disrespected you when you were at your lowest, this story is going to feel personal. Do me a favor, hit that like button, because you're about to hear a revenge tale that's not quick, not loud, but slow, cold, and devastating. And trust me, by the end of it, you'll see why patience is the deadliest weapon. I grew up in a small town, the kind of place where everyone knew your business before you even got home, where reputations lasted decades and grudges lasted lifetimes. When I finished college, I had two options: chase a shiny cubicle job in the city or return home. My grandmother was sick, and family came first. I told myself it was temporary, that working in my hometown government office would give me breathing room. That office became my prison. My boss, let's call him Mr. Holloway, wasn't just arrogant, he was cruel. He butchered grammar, yet corrected others in public. He picked and chose who was worthy of his time. If a wealthy landowner had an issue with taxes, he'd wine and dine them, bending the rules. If a working-class family begged for the same relief, he'd shut them down, cold. And me? I was young, idealistic, fresh out of college. I thought I could make a difference. I thought honesty mattered. I learned quickly that honesty in his world was dangerous. We handled tax disputes. People would plead their case, and I was sworn under oath to answer honestly. But if my answers gave citizens any leverage, Holloway would pull me out mid-hearing. One day, I told him flat out, "I won't lie under oath. If you want lies, you say them yourself." He didn't like that. His smile twisted. He never asked me to lie again, but he found other ways to punish me. The worst came years later. My best friend's father, the man who was like a second dad to me, took his own life. I was the one who had to tell my best friend the news, the one who drove him home, the one who carried the weight of grief on both our shoulders. I took 3 days off. 3 days. And the night before the funeral, my boss called. Not to check on me, not to offer condolences, just to ask when I'd be back and remind me of a deadline. When I returned, broken and exhausted, he pulled me aside. "Your bereavement pay won't be approved." He wasn't immediate family. I reminded him that he'd approved bereavement for another worker in nearly the same situation. His response? "They had to travel. Yours doesn't qualify. Case closed." That day, something inside me cracked. Let me ask you, if your boss denied you bereavement pay after you buried the man who was like a father to you, would you quit on the spot? Or would you bite down, wait, and plan? I chose patience. I lasted 3 years under him, 3 long years. Eventually, I quit. I had vacation days saved up, but HR rules said sick days disappeared if you left. 15 days vanished into thin air. I didn't fight it, didn't argue. I walked away. Quiet. cold. But I never forgot. And karma? It doesn't forget. A year after I left, I heard the news. Holloway was leaving too, moving to another town, chasing another cushy job. But he wanted something extra. He wanted to cash out his unused sick days, the very thing denied to me. HR said no. Policy was policy. But Holloway wasn't used to being told no. He took it to the board. The board he had handpicked to protect him. Stacked with allies, men and women who always rubber-stamped his whims. Except in small towns, loyalty runs deeper than politics. Some of those board members had ties to my family. And one of them, the chairman, had been my father's old friend. Opportunity arrived. I happened to bump into the chairman at a local business. We caught up like old friends, casual, warm. And then carefully, I laid the seed. I heard Holloway's moving on. Shame about the HR issue. He frowned. What HR issue? I told him my story, how I'd been denied sick day payout, how my bereavement request had been coldly shut down. I didn't spit venom. I didn't beg for revenge. I just told the truth. Quiet, calm, like water under the bridge. But the disappointment in his eyes told me I'd done enough. I said goodbye, walked out, and left the match sitting in a pool of gasoline. The day of the board meeting arrived. I wasn't there, but my contact in HR gave me every detail afterward. When Holloway's payout request came up, the chairman spoke first. Calm, firm. He said approving sick day payouts would set a dangerous precedent, that no other agencies allowed it, that consistency mattered. Another board member challenged him, but Holloway told us other agencies do allow it. And right there, Holloway's empire cracked. He lied. And in front of the very board he had built, the very people he thought would always protect him, his lie collapsed. Motion to table. A second. A vote. His payout denied. 30 days of sick leave. Gone. Nearly $10,000 he had counted on. Lost. And worse than the money, the humiliation, the exposure, the truth that he was never as untouchable as he believed. That day, karma was delivered cold. I didn't throw a punch. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I just told the truth at the right time to the right person. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's not fire and fury. It's patience. It's waiting until the exact moment when karma finally tips the scales. And trust me, by the end of it, you'll see why patience is the deadliest weapon. In the end, I didn't just get revenge. I got peace. Because the sweetest justice isn't rage. It's patience. Waiting until the exact moment when karma finally tips the scales. And trust me, when it does, it's worth every second. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, what's the coldest act of karma you've ever witnessed? Don't forget to subscribe because we've got more stories where bullies, tyrants, and manipulators finally get what's coming to them. And remember, sometimes the quietest revenge cuts the deepest.